recording.
Hello, everyone. We have it live stream. Everybody, I'm so sorry. We're a little bit late. Terry's not here today. Quite obviously, it's me, Auntie Jean. So she's working. She's with Ruth. We're not too sure. I think Ruth is moving into a new house, and she's getting her house all ready. They're painting the walls. And I know she has a group of young people coming in to help her, paint today. So what I'm thinking is that she needs to have another supervisor around to kind of keep an eye on what's going on. So those of us who've been teachers, we know how that can go sometimes. So anyhow, welcome to Soul Food Book Club. We're so glad that you're here. And I'm so happy to be here. I was just telling them I'm feeling a little low because of what happened in my state yesterday. So it's going to do me good to talk about something funny and happy, I think. So I don't know. I think you know everybody, but I'm going to introduce them anyway. There's Charlie Kuntz. He's one of our steadfast members. He's always here. And
Hello,
then we
Emma.
have Mary Lou, and she's just our sweetie pie. And then we have Linda, our love, and she's here. Linda Lemieux. And Mary Lou, what is your last name? I know
Burdick.
it like again?
Burdick.
Burdick. I knew it. My mind is going blank, in and out blank, so excuse me for that. But anyway, I am enjoying this book so much. How about you all?
Yes.
Love it.
And the book we're reading is When You Look Like Your Passport Photo, It's Time to Go.
I'll let you hold it up. Then it's time to come home. And I was teasing everybody last week that I already look like my passport photos. So, and we were talking about bringing ours. Did you bring yours, Mary Lou?
I didn't.
No?
I forgot. I have it tucked away. We tuck it away until we're going on a trip.
Yeah.
And it's too much for me. I'd have to unlock the door, unlock the case it's in. Oh my gosh, forgive me. I should have just taken the time and I didn't.
Oh, that's okay. Normally I keep mine in the safe too. We have a little tiny, makes it sound like we have a lot of money. We have a little safe with our papers in it and our passport. And I usually keep it in there too. But I thought I was going to Ireland for a while.
And what happened? You're not?
Oh, we're not going, no.
Oh, what happened?
Well, I don't feel like I should talk about it because Terry hasn't. But let's just say that
Plans changed.
well, and not everyone is whom you think they are.
Oh.
Some people have a way of presenting themselves and totally misrepresenting themselves.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So anyway, so we're not going, but we're still excited about the retreat. And so we will, I'm going to take my passport because who knows where I might go after the retreat. So did you find yours, Linda?
I did.
Oh, let's see. You've seen everybody else.
Is that it?
Oh, move it a little. Oh, Linda, that's not bad for a passport picture. That's pretty.
Driver's license is better.
The same way. Yours looks like it's in color.
It is in color.
Oh, are they in color? I think my last one must have been in black and white.
I think I have on the same.
They are in color.
I have on the same shirt.
Oh, really? Oh, funny.
It looks good on you, Linda.
Usually wearing blue.
What does it say on your passport? How many places have you been that you've used it?
0.
Yes.
Okay. It's just for identification that you got it?
No, I got it. I got it in case we went anywhere, but I got it
the 14th of March, 2020, and the 15th is when we shut down for COVID.
Oh.
Wow.
We used to go out with we have like 6 couples. Our kids were all friends. So we go out to dinner. We were going out 1, 2, 3 times a week. And then COVID hit, and that was the next night was our last time we ever went. Well, I mean, we've gone since outside, but I mean, we didn't go, we did it on a Zoom for about a year. So anyway, that's where that.
Well, I have no marks in mine either, even though I have been to Canada. I didn't realize that they don't stamp it unless you ask them to.
Oh,
You know, I was on a bus because we were going on a cruise, and I went through the line. They had a whole bunch of people going through the line, and there was another little desk over here. Well, later on, I found out that's where they stamp them. So I just went through the fast speed desk and didn't get a stamp. Anyway, okay, and I want to tell everyone Susan's home feeling a little poorly. She says it's not COVID, but she's kind of got, I guess, like a cold. You know, I've been feeling like I have a head cold myself. So I think
she
when
said
the
she'll
weather
follow us
changes,
though today.
I
She
beg
said
pardon?
she'll be listening to us, I
Yeah, I
think, today.
know. So we sure miss
So
you,
hi,
Susan,
Suzanne.
and yeah, hi. And we love you, and we're hoping to get better real soon.
Yeah.
And so we're going to start talking about the book, and we also have a plan for each of us to talk about a trip that we took that might be of interest to everybody. And I wanted to tell you my background is actually Yosemite Valley National Park. And we went there. And the one thing I realized reading her books, if many of you resonate with this, boy, I sure don't know my geography the way I thought I did.
Some of the
Seemed like
places
she went from
were
one
unusual.
place here to a place I thought was way on the other side of the continent. So she didn't write it like, I don't think she wrote it like in a, what do you call it, genealogical, orderly way, because one minute we're in Italy and the next minute we're in Indonesia, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're not that close to each other, are they?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
She's so funny though with the book.
isn't she?
It's like
Yeah.
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend it for anybody who wants some funny light reading. It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we should go and should buy things everywhere. And the one that really struck me is she bought something and then she had to pay to get it packed and to have it shipped on an airplane and then shipped on the truck and everything. It cost like three times more than what it cost to buy it, you know.
And she had spent such an effort to bargain and get the price down. Yeah, it was funny. That was a good one.
Yeah, but and she spent so much to get it home. And the other one was the husband with the deer skin.
Yeah.
That
smells so.
What?
Yeah.
The husband with the what? Charlie,
he brought a deer skin and it stunk the plane up.
Oh, the deer skin. Oh.
Yeah.
They wound up hanging it in the garage where nobody notices.
Yeah, that was, you know, I have to say, I saw me and my husband in a lot of what they did. You know, a lot of the arguments and things like that, you know, that if Ron would talk to you about trips, it would be a different story than me, because in his mind, I spent my entire time in gift shops. And that's not true. I didn't, but I do like to go and get souvenirs, you know.
Yeah.
I'm the same way, Jean. I like to browse around. I think you can learn about the country in gift shops a little bit, you know.
Yes, you.
Or even a town, if you're in a local area and you go to, like if I go to Lenox, which is, only a 20-30 minute ride from my house, there's a great shop in there, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that about the Berkshire County, they're
Mhm.
because they're selling tchotchkes, with different things on it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
Have you all traveled very much? Linda, have you traveled very much?
I've been to Mexico once, that's all.
Oh.
And it was 45 years ago, and you didn't need a passport. I was 8 months pregnant with my son, Michael. And I was sitting on a wall, and I looked like a beached whale. And a man sat down beside me, and he said, "Did you come to have your baby here?" And I went, "No, why would you ask?" And he said, "Well, if you have your baby in Mexico, you can buy land in his name and then retire down here."
Oh, interesting.
And a
Actually, I've
lot of
heard that.
Americans do that. So,
Oh,
and he'll have dual citizenship.
That's
So,
true.
but that's the only time I went on a cruise. I went to Mexico. So yeah, I've been there, but I didn't need a passport at the time.
Well, we didn't need a passport until maybe about 4 years ago. Like that
Yeah.
I live on the border, and we could go over there to eat dinner or go shopping. Nobody, you just came back. They asked you your citizenship. You said American, and that was it.
Yeah.
Although I did have a friend who was German, but she spoke perfect English, and beautiful lady. This wasn't even a friend, it was a teacher. And she was blue-eyed and just as, as American as you could picture anyone being. And when she came across the border, she had forgotten her passport. And when she came across the border, they asked her for her passport. And she says, "I'm American." And he says, "No, you're not." He knew. I don't know how he knew. But he says, "No, you're not." And she had to stay there for a number of hours while they proved. I think her husband had to go get her passport and everything.
wow.
They're good. They're really
My
good.
husband loves to tell the story about how he was born in El Paso, Texas. And his father,
really?
he was born in the military. His father was in the military. And afterwards, they when they retired, they only stayed there for a short time as a military family. And they came back to Vermont, where he's from. But they loved to go down there later on in their life during retirement years, and they'd love to go across the border, and they would buy medicine and everything down there because it was cheaper, and they never had to have a passport. I think in Europe, though, I'm pretty sure, because I went to Europe in the year 2000, and you had to have a passport to go to Europe then. So, but
Charlie, have you ever traveled abroad?
Oh, not abroad. I've been to Canada, and I've been on cruises, to the islands down in, Belize and all them other places, I've been on.
I think that's awesome. I've never done the cruising yet, and I'm
Yeah,
hoping.
I went on 4 or 5 different cruises, and we went with a lot of people, like 30 of us, so it was.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so it was like a really big, a bunch of family and friends, and I did the trailering a lot with my wife. She used to show dogs, so we went to Canada and different states to show the dogs and stuff. So
What kind of dogs, if I can ask?
Yeah, they were Kerry Blue Terriers.
Oh, okay.
It's what Sunny is. Sunny's a Kerry Blue Terrier.
Right. Yeah.
Pretty
Actually, the picture on the wall behind me is a bunch of them.
And pretty rare too, at least in this country.
Oh. Yeah. I was wondering what that picture was behind you.
That's an original print.
Oh.
actually, I have like 40 different original prints rolled up that my wife bought or whatever that I'll probably gift them to the U.S. Kerry Blue Terrier Club because
they'd be lovely.
I don't know what to do. I gotta, and then they can put them in the auction or whatever, or
That'd be nice, Charlie.
Right, yeah. Because what am I going? I don't know.
You might save one for the retreat. Terry's planning on having like a raffle at the retreat. Have some prizes so that
I even put them. Yeah, I could take a photo of one and put it in a frame and auction it or something. Yeah.
That'd be wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta.
But they went all over the place to Europe, and I've never been. But it's so funny. Human nature is the same because we traveled in the United States. We were lucky enough to do a lot of traveling in the United States, and the people are the same. People are the same almost everywhere,
Yeah.
So I just, she just cracks me up, like like I said, we've been to Yosemite, we've been to Grand Canyon, any of the national parks, you name it, we've probably been there, Yellowstone. And it's so true. When people don't understand English, we go into these shops, and we ran into a lot of Japanese people. And when we go to these shops, the salespeople, they would say something to the person, and the person didn't speak English. So they say it louder, and then they'd say it louder, and then and I'm there going, they're not going to understand you because you get loud. So the things are pretty much the same wherever.
Yeah. And she touches on that in her different stereotypes.
Oh, Susan's trying to get in.
Oh, I see that.
I bet she's traveled. She's from Germany originally.
Yeah, and she could talk about passports and everything too.
Yeah, yeah.
She's not in the waiting room. Oh, there she is. Okay. Okay, Susan, you should be able to get in.
There she is.
Hi, Suzanne. Oh, your volume is off.
There you go.
There you go. Hi, Suzanne.
Trying to straighten this out. Hold on. Video.
You're doing good so far.
Start. I'm waiting for my video to start.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, use video. But you can hear me in the meantime, right?
Yes, you can.
You just can't see me, right?
Right.
That's right. Yeah, next to the microphone where it says mute, there should be a video camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it has a line on it, that means it's not showing it. Just click it off.
Yeah, just touch the video.
Just touch, yeah.
Video. It says virtual background still loading.
Oh,
And
okay. So it's
I guess I don't know. I don't even know that I have a virtual background, but you know what? And if I cough, I just mute myself if I have to cough. So I'm gonna take the chance to come on.
That's good. That's good.
But I couldn't resist. You're talking about traveling, and
you
know, it's so exciting. Yeah. And I lived different places, and I traveled a lot of places. So that's an exciting topic. But what I wanted to say, what was so funny, it cracked me so up, was that airplane, like the Peanuts with the airplane travel, that she had that chapter. Because I just flew, right? And it's literally true. It's literally true. There was a curtain that divided us from first class.
Absolutely.
And it was like a look-through curtain. It was even funnier. Usually it's like a solid curtain. This was look-through, and you've seen everything. And I literally was staring at the first class, seeing how they got all their drinks served and the extra attention. So when I was reading that in a book, I was like, yeah, that's so true. I can totally agree to that, you know. Yeah, that made me laugh.
I've never been in first class ever.
Me neither.
And I've flown a lot because of school, but I bet you've flown all over the place.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Tell us
Yeah.
about where you've been, Susan.
I've been at my daughter Jillian's. She needed me to come and babysit the kids because she had to work. And so I flew out there on Friday a week ago, and Saturday and Sunday, both her and her husband were working. And I watched the grandkids, which was so awesome. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I praise FaceTime and any video chat because those two little ones know me literally from just video chatting with me. They knew my face.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because they're only 2 and 4. And it was just, my soul was just full of love. It was so beautiful. And then I had 3 days with my daughter, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. She was off. And we did a little traveling. I was in South Dakota. So we did the Badlands, we did Target, we did Mount Rushmore. And, first day, then I came back home. And
I bet it was beautiful.
Yeah. But the nature is so behind back there. The trees barely had leaves. I mean, they're just starting out with everything over there. They had an air show going on, which was cool. So I got to see the Blue Angels flying right over where we were, which was nice. I just love traveling, you guys. Traveling is beautiful. It just fills your soul. It's like hitting a reset button. It's like, so yeah, I didn't need to get sick coming back, but that's okay too. That will pass too, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
And what about your passport? You
I
must
do have a
full
passport.
passport.
Yes,
we
I
want to
don't
see
have
your
it.
picture.
I don't have it handy, but I tell you what, I look now better than my picture. It's probably the haircut.
He can't show us anyway.
That's true.
I got to show you next time because I have it packed away too. I have like a little briefcase in case of fire that you can grab and run out the door with all the important documents.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good idea.
It is. People who live places where there's hurricanes, like my daughter used to, they have that stuff all packed up and ready.
Oh.
Yep. We lived in Florida for 5 years, so we were used to that. But now it would be more if there's a fire. We had a couple house fires in the neighborhood. And, I want to have the birth certificates, anything, passports, stuff like that, marriage certificate, everything in a letter briefcase ready to grab if there was an emergency, which I recommend for everybody.
Have you experienced what I was telling them was that people who don't understand English, that other people who are speaking to them in English talk louder and louder, thinking they're going to understand? Have you experienced that in your travels in Europe?
No. I can't really say that. It was funny to read it,
Yeah.
And sometimes I will think,
seeing how you're talking about the language, the one with the luggage, it was real short. It was only like a page or so. Yeah, where she, the person she knew was a seamstress, and she was going to introduce the Pope, and she was practicing what to say, and then she said it to a priest, and the priest said, "Why are you going to ask the Pope that he lost his luggage?" Why would you want to tell the Pope that he lost his luggage?
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
That was funny, yeah.
Then also she was getting her luggage, I guess, at an airport carousel. And this man came out to help her, and he carried her luggage and went to a car and asked where she was going to. And she almost got in the car, and she realized that's not a taxi. I don't know this man. So she said, never mind. And she went back to the taxi stand, and he gave her a ride. But she said, you're just so busy thinking and getting everything and doing everything. Sometimes you just don't think straight. So she didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
And I've heard that happen a
Scary.
couple times with.
There you are.
Hey, with that cute haircut.
It decided
Yeah.
to work.
Oh,
Hey, oh,
Hmm.
yeah. So anyway, one of the stories was I'll tell you was we were going on. There's a couple of them.
This
The
is
one-
one of your personal stories, Charlie?
Yeah. This is from
Okay, of traveling.
when I was young. So my mother and father rented a pop-up camper, one of the pop-up ones where you open it up and it opens up and you can't. So it was in the driveway. So we're playing in it or whatever. My mother's yelling to come for dinner or whatever. And she comes out to get us. And she fell in the cesspool.
Oh no.
Yes. So that wasn't a traveling one, but yeah, and I had to run and get a neighbor. She almost died.
oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What a way to go, huh?
The neighbor pulled her out and they hosed her off with a
Oh my gosh.
and the ambulance came and and her eyes burned because there was acid put in a couple
Well,
of days.
of course. Yeah.
Oh, that's a shitty way to go.
Yeah. So anyway, that was one of the stories. That wasn't a travel one, but it had a pop-up trailer in it. But
Yeah.
anyway.
That's
And then-
traveling.
And another one was we had station wagons, we had ramblers, we had and I used to call them the rumbling ramblers.
Yeah.
We had a 1962 and a 1965, two different ones. And we were going on a trip. We were going to Ohio, and I don't know anybody that goes to Ohio on vacation. But anyway, so we had suitcases on the top of the station wagon tied down or whatever. So we get there, and the suitcases is missing. I think it was my sister's suitcase. It flew off or whatever during the trip or whatever. So she wound up with no clothes, like they did with with the airplane. They never got their clothes or whatever. So
Yeah, that went somewhere else. Yeah.
yeah. So that was another one, and
Well,
another one.
good. Let's tell stories then. Let's get into those.
Yeah.
Who wants to start? What's their favorite story? Their travels and experience?
I have something funny too. It's not necessarily traveling. So, we're a military family. My husband was in, my daughter is in now, and we used to live in Japan for a while. And I really used to live off base, and it was in the early 90s. And in Japanese, you say "Ohayo gozaimasu" for good morning. Well, I didn't know that so well. I read it from the dictionary, which has a U at the end, "Ohayo gozaimasu." And I didn't know the U is silent. So I would walk to the neighborhood and say to all the Japanese people, "Ohayo gozaimasu." And later I found out, that I said it completely wrong. They must have laughed and thought, look at her, walking around.
Show off.
And another
Do you know
nice
what you
one-
were saying by mistake?
No, I mean, I did, but the way it was written out in English with the U at the end, and I just didn't get to the chapter where it said the U is silent, but at least I made an effort.
But you tried.
Yeah,
They probably
I did.
they felt your spirit of friendliness.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think people do,
Yeah.
That's like when I don't go over to Mexico anymore, but, I don't speak very fluent Spanish, but I do speak a little Spanish. And they just get the biggest smile on their face because they realize I'm doing things wrong. My verbs are wrong, but they're so happy that I'm trying to speak their language. I think it pleases them,
Yeah.
So, but well, anybody else? Come on, let's hear stories. Linda, you
Well, I
always
have a
wait till the
couple.
last.
You want to be next, Linda?
Sure. I took a side trip with Terry Angel, and we were in Florida, and there was a hurricane, and it was a stage 4, maybe going to be a 5. And I begged my husband to leave, and he wouldn't leave the house, and he was healthy and everything. And I said, I just had this feeling I had to get out. It was like something passed me. I just couldn't stay. So Terry was in Fort Lauderdale at the time, and her door got blown in, and they were on a much more serious level than we were. So I said, well, come up to my house and you can stay here, or we'll decide where to go. So I was going to go to North Carolina because I figured that would be out of reach. So she said, I know where we can go. We can go to Gerald's, who is a Facebook friend of hers. So we hemmed and hawed for quite a while because the hurricane was like the next day or two. So we got in the car, we went up to Gerald's, and it's a 5-hour drive north of here. And we had a fine trip, and then we're going down this, she was way in the boondocks, up, 5 hours north, I guess between Orlando and Ocala and the coast, but it was really small town. So we were on this long dirt road, and there was a full moon, and lots of this moss in the trees waving back and forth, and potholes in the road, and we had to slow down. And I said, you do know this person, don't you? And she goes, well, I know her on Facebook, but I've never met her. So, okay. What? You're just telling me this 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
But we got there safe, and she was happy to see us, and so glad she could help out. And her place had more damage than my place. My husband said we just lost the electricity for an hour because we're by a hospital, so we're on the grid where they get it right back on. So, but we didn't have any damage, but she lost her dock and all kinds of things. And during the visit, we were sitting kind of like out on the patio, and it was getting pretty rough. And so I kept hearing this noise, and it sounded like a truck stuck in the mud, like on and on and on. I wouldn't stop. So I said to Gerald, why in God's name would somebody be out in a truck in the middle of, it was like 3 a.m, in the middle of the night with a storm? She goes, that's not a truck. Those are all alligators. We're on the edge of a swamp. So she was on the river and on the edge of a swamp. And it was just, I went, oh. But it was just the whole trip was funny. And she had all these people come over, and she would have like 20 people at dinner every night. She just was a really good cook, and she was kind of like the gathering place for the town and all the relatives and things. So I was known as, are you the lady that left her husband alone during the hurricane? I said, that would be me.
That was Gerald's house, right?
Yeah, that was at Gerald's. So
Gerald's, yeah, I know.
yeah, they would ask her, and she would just point to me, go ask that one about it.
Gracie's here. Hi, Gracie.
I've been to her house, so I know.
Oh, have you?
Yes, I know what you're talking about. So
I can
I
imagine
know the dirt road and the dock and everything.
Oh, okay. And the whole dock got washed away, where they have their boat and stuff. Well, not washed. A lot of it did, not all of it.
Yeah.
But we saw somebody else's dock go down the river. It's just like, you know, yeah. So there ended up.
Sorry, Linda. I didn't know.
No, I just remembered. I added to it, and there ended up being a lot of people and five different little dogs and 3 cats. They all got along. They were fine. So anyway, so it was a funny weekend.
Sounds exciting. Mary Lou, tell us your story.
Well, recently I went down to South Carolina, and my daughter invited Barry and I to go and visit. They have like a timeshare or a condo or something down on Fripp Island. And it's beautiful down there. They have, you're talking about the alligators, Linda, and they have alligators everywhere. You have on the golf course there, if you golf, they come right up onto the grass and everything, which I chose not to do. I said, I don't know if I can run faster than an alligator. My daughter told me I could, but I didn't do that. And they had deer that would come up right up to the doorway of the house.
Oh,
It's a conservation area. And this time of the year, if you live on the shoreline, you had to turn off all of the lights. So that the turtles, when they come up, don't get confused from the lights because they're coming up to begin to hatch. So it's a beautiful place. So on our way home, I'll tell a little airport story. So on our way home, we're waiting, and Barry and I had different tickets for seating, and he was group 5 and I was group 8, and he was all worried. I said, don't worry about it. I know how to get on the plane. We're fine. Just go ahead. So he gets on, and I'm standing there waiting for them to call group 8. And all of a sudden this man was next to me. He was probably 35 or 40. You know, that's a good lifetime away from me right now. And he says, it looks like we're not going to get on this plane. Look at, they're boarding and boarding. By the time they call us, we're not going to get on. You want to go have a drink? And I looked at him. I said, no, I'm getting on that plane. My husband just got on, and I'm getting on that plane. And he laughed, and he says, well, okay. And then when they started boarding us, he said, it still looks awful busy to me. He said, I think you're going to have to sit on my lap once we get on there.
Whoa.
I'm not getting on your lap, and you don't want me getting on your lap.
Whoa.
Wasn't that a strangest situation?
That
I
that could
didn't,
be considered harassment.
I mean, in a way it would. If I was in a different mindset or something, I didn't even really give it much thought. I just thought, how strange was that, until we got home the next day, and I'm telling him the story, and he said, you got hit on.
Yeah, big time.
I said, well, it made me kind of feel good, you know. We looked at it that way, Jean, instead of, the dirty old person. You know what I mean? I don't know if he was just kidding with me, or, it could be a dangerous thing.
Kidding with you.
It could have been a dangerous thing.
But they don't think that that's harassment. And
right.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah, of course he was. That's where a lot of it comes in, is because men have not all men, Charlie, I'm sorry, but some men have a different sense of humor than women do. They don't sometimes stop to think what they're saying.
Well, I didn't turn around to see if he was getting on the plane or not. I just went right to my seat right away.
Good plan.
I'm just glad he wasn't sitting. Can you imagine if I was sitting next to him on the plane then? I think then maybe I would have rethought that,
Absolutely. I think,
yeah.
I would have had to beg.
Hi, Grace Isis.
Hi, Gracie. Are you there? Grace. I guess people are having trouble with the audio or something.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, wait a second. No, she's got her. I don't know whether to. Oh, boy. Let me see. Ask to start video. It's not the video, because sometimes she doesn't come on with video. But we're not hearing you, Gracie. I don't know.
I just want to point out, on page 113 in the book, if you've got the hardcover, the story that made me laugh the most was when they were in Spain, and they went down to the beach, and the parents played cards.
Oh, yeah.
They climbed the rock to the private beach, and one day they saw the naked woman. And the reaction of the husband, can I read it? I just think it's so funny.
Go ahead.
Okay, so the naked woman nearest us resumed her way to the water. At one point, my husband cleared his throat. I thought he was going to say something, but he didn't. Finally, she entered the water and swam out to a rock about 50 feet away and stretched out lazily to catch some sun. My husband turned to me and said, "Did you see that? She wasn't wearing shoes. She could have caught her feet on ribbons on these rocks. You really are certifiable, aren't you?" I asked after a minute. "Here's a tramp who invades our space, and the only thing you see are her tender feet." "How do you know she's a tramp?" he asked. She looks like she has a nice personality. She has the personality of a food processor. You don't know that either, he charged. When you leave an ankle bracelet on in the salt water, you're not too bright. Well, she obviously comes from a good family, probably military. How can you possibly arrive at a revelation like that? Her posture is superb. Is that true of military families, Suzanne? Men, I suppose you'd want your son to marry someone with a tattoo of a duck on her hip. That wasn't a duck, it was a family crest of some kind. But it goes on and on, you know, but it's so funny how it became a little battle between the husband and the wife, you know, about whether she was this or that or the other. I thought that was just so
But
funny.
she approved of the guy. I remember that.
And it wound up being the maid or whatever.
The cook, I think.
Yeah.
Her daughter.
Yes, it was the
Her
cook's
daughter
daughter.
and the
And
boyfriend.
yeah.
I
Just that one really tickled me, made me laugh. I liked that one.
Well, we
Yeah.
traveled so much. I was trying last night to think what would be a good story or a funny story. And there's so much funny stuff. You know, there's just little bits here and little bits there. Everything funny always happened. But I thought maybe the one you might enjoy the most, my kids used to when I told them this at school. We went to Yosemite, which is the picture behind. Yosemite Valley, in my opinion, is the most beautiful place on earth. Now, I haven't been everywhere, so I can't be 100% sure of that, but it's absolutely gorgeous. And millions of people visit it, you know, every year. And they have bears. And when you go into the park, they check you in, because you have to make reservations. You can't just go camping there if you want to. You have to make reservations months ahead. And they show you pictures of these cars that these bears have ripped open. They show you pictures of campers that these bears have ripped open to get at the food. So every camping space has a huge metal box that you lock all your food in. Everything goes in that box. And that way they don't smell it in your car. They don't smell it in your tent, because we were tent campers and everything. We were there for 5 or 6 days. I think they only let you stay 5 or 6 days. Had a ball, never saw a bear. Not quite accurate, because when we were going to find a camping place, they were taking the bear out in a trash can. They were moving the bear that they had caught. But anyway, never saw a bear. So then we traveled more. We came home and went to Cloudcroft. Actually, Terry, that's where we did one of the land blessings. It's a little local campground. And we found a campsite, put up our tent and everything. That night, I kept hearing all this racket going on outside, all this noise, pots jingling, and because we take our pots, our pans and everything. And I thought it was raccoons, because we have to have a lot of raccoons up there. Ron comes out of the tent. I was sleeping in the car because I had the little one. I don't know which one with me. And he comes out of the tent. He's, get out of here. And when he did that, this bear stood up. This huge bear, about maybe 6 feet tall. And my husband looks at the bear and he says, "Okay, take anything you want. I'm just going back in here now." And he went back into the tent and he said, "I closed the curtain and prayed." And that he ate everything. We had bought our own metal box years ago because of the raccoons and stuff that we put all our food in. He somehow got that out unlocked. I don't know how he did. And he ate everything in that box except for one thing. He didn't drink my Diet Coke. He drank all the other Cokes. He did that and sucked it out with his teeth. but he didn't touch my Diet Coke. So that's probably the funniest one
Yeah.
that we ever had. But we had plenty. So it was fun. I love traveling. I love traveling with my kids. So, Grace, are you still not there? I don't know.
She can't get in. You guys just seen that message. She's trying to get in and she can't.
I don't understand why I keep letting her in and she.
Put her in the waiting room and try letting her back in.
She's here. I mean, I show her here. The only thing.
Try putting her in the waiting room and let her back in.
Okay, I'll try putting her back in the waiting room. Oh, fiddle.
Before maybe this way she can say a few words before.
Yeah, I hope so.
Let her back in and.
Now she's not in the waiting room. I put her in the waiting room, Charlie, and now she's not there.
Tell her to try to come back on. Well,
Come back on, Gracie. Try. I don't know what's going on.
We only got a couple more minutes anyway.
I know, and that's breaking my heart because I wanted to. But no, I needed this good laugh, and I needed the reminders of things we've done.
And Terry, we miss you today. If you ever rewind and watch this, I mean, you would have the best stars because you're the traveling angel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm
We
glad
even
read
have
this
stories
book.
together, because when we went to Cloudcroft, we forgot about COVID and we didn't know we couldn't use the restroom anywhere. I mean, no restroom. The whole time we were there. We even went in to eat a meal, they wouldn't let us use the restroom.
Oh, wow.
I have to say, I'm glad we're reading this. It's very lighthearted. It makes me smile a lot when I read, which is so nice. It's just different. And I also just encourage you all to travel, everybody, because when I just traveled, it sort of gets you out of a rut. I even enjoyed flying. I did all the driving in South Dakota. And it gives you a sense of just like makes you self-secure, you feel accomplished. You're out there, you're like, I can do this. I can drive up to Mount Rushmore. And it just made me feel it just rejuvenated me a little bit just to get out of the daily grind.
Yeah.
But traveling is really good for everybody. I can only recommend.
Good, Susan. That's good advice.
Oh.
And you're right. Sometimes you just have to go to another state. You don't have to go across the pond.
Yeah.
For next week, we're going to read up to Istanbul.
Istanbul?
Okay.
Right.
I don't have much left to read here.
It doesn't look like it, Jean, but there's still 20 more chapters.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Istanbul.
Because some of her chapters
Charlie,
are short.
So it'll be up to 192, the end of Istanbul.
Is that chapter 30?
Yeah, well, there's no chapter. It's Istanbul, the one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you all don't mind, it's time to close, but I would like to end in a little prayer for the kids that were killed, if you don't mind.
Please.
Dear Father in heaven, and all your wonderful angels, teachers, guides that you have given us, we are asking that you help the families of the children who have recently lost their lives through cruelty. And we ask you for protection for our entire angelic family and all our peace for peace. And also help all the people of the world realize that your way, peace and love, is the way that we need to go and is the only answer for mankind. Please, please help those families and help all of us. Amen. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. All right. You all have a wonderful day. Terry will be
Okay.
back next week, and I really appreciate you helping me. So love you.
You did
See
a
you
good
later.
job, Auntie Jean. Thank
Oh,
you.
Namaste.
Nice to see
Namaste.
everybody.
Oh, yes. Namaste.
Namaste.
Hey,
Namaste.
y'all.
Let's
All
do
right.
peace for peace. Peace for peace.
See
The other thing I
you
love
all
to do.
next week.